Welcome back to Central Valley Wedding and Special Events. I'm Sheriff Fransman, and I'm here with George Ohan of the Narrow Gauge Inn. Thanks for joining us again, George. It's always great to have you on the show. So how has the Narrow Gauge been? Has it been a good few months since we last saw you?
As of very recently, it's been amazing because we have clean air.
Which is always nice.
You know, it's very unfortunate that Northern and Southern California are getting kind of swamped right now. The valley was kind of bad today, but this past couple of weeks has been just so clean and fresh, and the wind's blowing, and we're looking up, we're seeing the blue skies. People are coming in from all over San Francisco, I mean everywhere, and
what a difference.
They're like, oh my goodness, wow. And during the Ferguson fire, July timeframe, it was quite the opposite. So we're very fortunate right now, but it's been a fun year. It's been a fun year overall.
Awesome. And you have new things coming up for the holidays as well.
Yes.
You were mentioning to me new menu items?
New menu items. Chef Ryan Seamus, he was the former executive chef at the Fairlawn in San Francisco.
Okay.
And so, you know, his mom lives in Oakers, so we got lucky.
Perfect, yeah.
Exactly. And now we've taken over the Branding Iron restaurant, which is at the Sierra Sky Ranch Hotel.
That is so cool.
You don't have to drive quite as high, a little bit lower, so we're below that little snow line right there if it gets too cold.
That's excellent.
7 days a week, Branding Iron will be open.
Okay.
Menu is amazing right now. People are loving it. We are going to do a few changes for the winter. That's coming up. And the Narrow Gauge Inn, right now we're open Fridays and Saturdays. Now, as the rooms are filling up, we switch it up. We're like, you know what, let's just go 7 days a week. We might not advertise it, might not be on the website. I mean,
but if there's people there to eat at the restaurant.
If there's people there, we hook them up.
Yeah.
And typically, if we can staff, that's the main thing, because we are pretty high up there, you know. If we can find the right crew to where we're gonna be able to provide the service that people expect, we'll do it. And that's pretty much what we're doing this week. We noticed, oh my goodness, like every room is booked out because of this air quality thing.
Right.
Restaurant opened back up.
Very nice. And it sounds like staying consistently busy. But before we started getting on the air, we talked a little bit about what makes Narrow Gauge unique and why it's a good choice for people to stay there versus some other places in the area. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. The Narrow Gauge Inn, it's the type of place where, you know, if you say, hey, it's magical, and you're like, whatever. But then you show up, you're like, oh my God, it's magical. You know, there's something just weird, there's something special about it. It's a lot of people, when they walk in the door, they're like, this place is quaint. And they don't know how to describe it, but they try to use a word or two to, and I think it's really special that they try to describe it. You know, they come in, like, hey, you know what I thought? And I'm like, all right, like, what's your thought then? It's not that big corporation thing. It's not that cut and dry cookie cutter thing. Every single room is different. You're not going to find the same furniture in two rooms. You know, it's that type of place. It was built in 1952. The train is right next door. We have trees on the property that are 300 years old.
It's amazing.
So you're looking outside of your balcony, and you're like, wow, there's the three girls. I mean, there's these three huge, beautiful sugar pines, and you could go down and hug them. I hug them. I don't care. If you're a new guest, I'm like, come on down, let's take a walk by the creek. My dog Patsy's running along. I'm like, I don't care if they call me tree hugger or whatever. It's just like, it's fun. And I ask people to touch the bark, and they look at me crazy, and they're like, well, okay. And then, like, the general manager's walking around asking me to touch, like, this is, like, super hippie right here. Like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden they're touching the bark, and they're like, Sue, get over here! And all of a sudden, like, they're like, come here, and all of a sudden you see 6 or 7 family members rubbing the bark, and I'm like, I did that. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, and George, you have such a passion for Narrow Gauge, and I feel like you really reflect that with your employees as well. It sounds like you really have a community. Excuse me, your coworkers, yes. You really have a community there with them.
Thank you.
And before we went on the air, we were talking a little bit about you have one coworker that really enjoys photography.
Yes. So basically, if you come to work, you shouldn't feel like, oh my God, I'm going to work. Like, that's just a bad feeling.
That's the hope,
right? We don't like that. It's like, oh my God. So I try to explain that. We have this little thing called a morning stand-up. It's the morning meeting, right? And I'm like, listen, if you're here, I want you to have goals outside of work. I want you to have something that you're trying to obtain, something that you're trying to reach. So then while you're at work, if something sucks, you're thinking about your thing that you're trying to, you're thinking about your goal all day. Your
Right.
mind's occupied with your dream and what you're trying to accomplish. And hopefully this little few hours in the day that you're spending here with us, well, it can give you some income or some help to help you reach a little bit more down your
Right.
path. And once you get far enough to where you don't need this place anymore, that's cool. We're going to encourage you right on and go do something else. So Sarah, our front desk, Sarah's like, George, look at this photo. And I'm like, oh my God, that's great. Like, I went to school for photography, and I'm thinking, I didn't take a photo like that today. Like, this is messed up. Like, what the heck is going on here? So I'm like, you know what, Sarah? I got the front desk. Why don't you go out for 30 minutes? Here's my camera. Go snap some photos. And she's like, what? I want to empower her. I want to say, hey, you're now encouraged to take photos, and you're getting paid for it. Ron, he was our maintenance guy. Pathway to Mammoth, a film that we produced. And Pathway to Mammoth, this film right here, Ron went on a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9-day journey. 9 days in the woods. He's got to go talk to the forest rangers. He's got to figure out, like a bear not to eat him.
Right.
I mean, imagine I'm like, hey, let's go on this trip in the forest. No, there's bears and mountain lions and fox and raccoons and stuff.
But he wanted to do it.
He did it. He did it. We helped him out. We worked with him now. My wife and I were the executive producers of this film. And the owners of the Narrow Gauge are like, you know what? That's amazing, you guys. Can we sell that in the gift shop? So we just went from being coworkers working at a hotel to now we have a movie and it's being actually sold. Like how many people go to film school and never make a movie and never sell a movie?
Right.
Well, Ron, the guy who was a maintenance guy at the hotel, is selling a movie now.
That's incredible. It's incredible how tightly knit everyone is. And I think that probably is very reflective to the guests. I'm sure your guests staying there feel that. They feel that sense of community, of family, I would even say.
The people who get the vibe, who get it, as soon as they get out of the car, they're like, woo, because, I yell something stupid. I'm like, Happy New Year. And everyone's like, Happy New Year. And if they yell it back, I'm like, oh, they're Wolfpack. they
belong here.
They come in and they give me a hug. I'm like, big burly man, I do not know. He's like squeezing me. He's like, you're my cousin now. I'm like, okay. Like, that's it. It is that. And they see the dog. And, I'm like, hey, there's my wife. There's the baby. It's just... we totally encourage that. It's not like, oh, you're going to have to go see the concierge over here. You're going to go see the...
Right.
There's about 5 or 6 hippies running around. We'll do the best we can to help you.
Right.
Like, that's it.
And you have another film as well that we wanted to talk about. Tell me a little bit about The Flag.
The Flag, this is a really phenomenal project that I hold near and dear. Not only, I am the producer of this film, but what it took to make it took a whole lot of people to give their time. They were not paid on the project. They volunteered. And there's some Hollywood names in here of people who are in LA and they volunteered to be in this thing.
Wow.
A lot of people were students, and almost everybody who did work behind the scenes was a veteran. So military veterans who had recently gotten out of the military were giving them a chance to say, hey, why don't you come gain some experience, work on this film, work on this project. And the important message in this film is it explains what the 13 folds of the American flag are when it's folded into a triangle.
Very cool.
I will have you know this. Not one American ever has been able to answer me that.
I can't answer it, George.
Even military people, even veterans cannot answer that. That's why the movie is so important. And, to the credit of the owners of the Narrow Gauge again, I'm not some distributor. I'm not some whoever. I'm just like, hey, I got this little project. It's about 20 minutes long. It's amazing. It explains this. He's like, can we sell that in the gift shop?
Okay, so they can get both. People can get both of these in the gift shop.
In the gift shop and Narrow Gauge, and that's one thing we've really tried to do is get in local art, make unique Narrow Gauge shirts, just make little one-offs. It's not. You can go up and down 41, and you're going to see the same junk in every store.
It's true.
From Yosemite all the way down to Fresno.
The hotels, the resorts, they all have the same stuff.
You walk in our little shop, at least half of it's going to be some different stuff.
Yeah. That is so amazing. And I know that that's something that's very near and dear to you, that veterans and helping our military. So I think that's wonderful that you've made that the focus of this film. And what a unique idea to talk about that, because that totally is something I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, and I'm sure most people don't.
I love that. That it is a piece that is kind of universal, and you can be in the American Legion Auxiliary, you could be a Girl Scout, you could be a Boy Scout, and it's still interesting. You know, you could be a guy who was a Vietnam veteran or recently got out of Afghanistan.
Right.
It's still interesting information, and it's still
it's
pretty
significant
cool.
to all of us, I would say. I
Yes.
think this is a great thing that every person should pick up
Thank you.
and be aware. It's a learning opportunity.
Thank you. Only $19.99.
Oh, well, there we go.
Awesome.
Well, George, it sounds like you have just wonderful things happening at Narrow Gauge, and I'm so glad to hear that you continue to be successful and you're
Thank you.
doing well and you have your community base there. It's just so exciting to see that you're promoting that shop local
That's
and local artisans.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. It's always great to have you.
You're welcome.